What's up everyone? Rivers Cuomo from ARTV here. It's time for a review of our 13th album, Weezer, the Black Album. I'm gonna drop that bit really quickly. What's up everyone? John from ARTV. Time for a review of, yes, the 13th studio album. How are we here? And the 6th? Is this the 6th self-titled album? Weezer, come on. It's the Black Album. You've been hearing about the hype since 2016, and it's finally here out in the world. For as much hype as Weezer put into the Black Album, for as long as they've allegedly been working on it, 3+ years, this just doesn't feel that dark, that experimental, or anything. Instead, it feels scatterbrained, like it doesn't know exactly what direction it wants to go in. And even though it sticks to the format of all of the self-titled records having 10 songs, I feel that 10 songs is almost too much here, and there's filler content, which is totally unacceptable. Much of the record feels like it was recorded during the same sessions as Pacific Daydream, albeit with better lyrics, I would say, overall, and better production. Even though sometimes things do feel a bit too slick and polished, I think that Dave Sitek did a good job overall. When Weezer pull out the guitars and find new ways to work them into an updated sound, that's when this record is really firing on all cylinders, and it feels like it's at its most enjoyable. But for all of the songs that really do work here, the catchiness, the fun that they present, there's an equal amount, it seems, that just feel mundane or perhaps even phoned in, like Unfortunately the Prince Who Wanted Everything, which unfortunately feels like an afterthought of sorts. It seems like Rivers went back and tried to tie in some of the lyrics to the late singer Prince, who passed away a few years ago after he had already started writing this song. And it just feels so do-do-do-do. It's just passing you by. And it reminds me of some of the worst parts of their more mediocre records, which unfortunately, they've got a decent stack of now. It low-key feels like a washed-out version of Weezer with some swearing in the mix, which I'll admit, the first time I heard Rivers say that in an interview, talking about writing for the Black Album and saying that he was thinking of swearing, that's just downright adorable. The Black Album simply tries too hard to ride this thin, imaginary line between innovation and pleasing the classic Weezer fans and sticking to some sort of their own sound. I feel like this record carves out a little bit of both and kind of feels like it's landing somewhere in the middle of the road as a result of trying to go two different ways. Along with being the lead single, Can't Knock the Hustle is also the opening song, and it's a pump you full of bass type moment that is a lot of fun to listen to. I think that there's heart in there, there's a nice chemistry between the band members, and it's unique for them, which is something that the album definitely needed to kick it off. And this song also features some of that swearing that Rivers was hinting at, like, don't step to me bitch, I'm an ugly motherfucker. I have to admit that I crack up almost every single time. Zombie Bastards is really catchy, with this jutting guitar that breaks in on the hook and these keys that resonate with more listens. It's not really what you would expect from Weezer, but they also pull it off surprisingly well. This is one of those songs that at first it caught me off guard because I was hoping for something, I don't know, a little bit different, but the commentary on their fan base, it seems, and just Weezer in general, it's interesting and entertaining, and I have been coming back to it. However, living in LA is very monotonous, and it really just feels that it's simply there to exist. It's talking about this girl I like as Rivers sings for, what, the 1000th time? We know that you don't have a lot of success even though you're married, which I just feel you're pulling lyrics out of thin air, and this song doesn't do a thing for me. Piece of Cake sonically sounds like something that could fit in on a film soundtrack. I do like the fact that Rivers has some higher octaves that he reaches with his voice here, and the lyrics are, dare I say, emo? Cut me like a piece of cake. Okay, Rivers, I know you made it through Pinkerton, and if you can make it through that, then you can make it through anything. Rivers and his big mouth lead the way on I'm Just Being Honest, where apparently Rivers offers band advice to somebody and says that their band sucks. And then he gets a mouthful from whoever he's pissed off, and then he's like, I'm just being honest, guys. This is actually a fun song. I was very entertained by it. It's got a nice thumping bass rhythm, which is something that I could say much of the Black Album is lacking. I appreciate Scott Schreiner stepping up to the plate there, and there's some pretty cool guitar in there. It's doing something where it's kind of sliding around. It feels a little bit more lively than many of the other tracks, and Rivers is working it behind the mic, so I really can't complain. High as a Kite, though, that is a fucking step back in time through a time portal or something, because this is transported to a different time period of Weezer, where things were actually going really smoothly. They were putting out tons of hits, and this feels like something that I would gravitate to for years to come. In fact, this is one of my favorite songs of the year so far. Mr. Rivers doesn't always get it right though. As we've made our way through this kind of muddled mess of inconsistency, I think that the track Byzantine has good intentions, talking about confusion, not knowing what to do, but it's really just based on text conversations with Laura Jane Grace of Against Me, and I can appreciate that. He went out of his way, Rivers Cuomo, to write a song with somebody unique, and it's a decent song, but it feels like a bunch of one-liners, and then that kind of, Gotta get something off my chest, though. California Snow really snuck up on me. I did not like this song. In fact, there's still elements of it that I hate, and that's a big problem on the Black Album. There's things that just work their way up in the mix and I find irritating, or something feels off. But on California Snow, I would say that I like this song now more than I don't like it, but those woos are just... they're kind of a buzzkill. It's like I'm getting into the song and then Rivers is like, woo! Once it gets going and the chorus hits though, I find myself drawn into it. I find myself either humming or singing along. I like the dark tendencies that it has. It seems like it's talking about California Snow as a euphemism for drugs. At the end of the song too, they just break it down and there's a really interesting cascade collapse of guitars and a synthesizer, some sort of pedal effect that they're using. And it sounds downright good if I'm being honest. And I know this is gonna sound weird, but I wish they had taken more inspiration from California Snow, because this actually feels like some sort of a step forward, minus the woos, which I could do without. In the end, it was a lot of hype for a kind of mediocre offering that I'm sure a lot of fans are once again gonna be torn over, and that sucks that there's so many records out there that fans are just divided by. But for me personally, I'm going to give this a light 3 out of 5. That's a step up from the 2.5 from Pacific Daydream. Make sure you to stay tuned and subscribe to the channel because Weezer Ranked is dropping March the 12th. Other than that, be sure to drop a like on this review. Let me know what you thought of the Black Album in the comment section down below, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.